Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Grubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists. It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Hi, this is Stacy Barnett from the Canine Detection Collaborative, and I am here with my glorious co-hosts, Crystal Wing.
Yes, hello.
Robin Grubel.
Hi.
I know we were completely corny, but I have to tell you, we're going to be doing a little bit of a reflection episode. So in the last episode, we interviewed Amy Herot, one of the co-founders for Nosework, the development of Nosework as a sport. Just, Amy and Ron Gaunt and Jill Marie O'Brien were the three brains that kind of came together and created this absolutely amazing sport that has changed the lives of so many dogs and so many people. And had a really fantastic conversation with her. And this episode is all about our reflections and how it made us feel and all the thoughts that it percolated in our brains. And just, that's really what we're going to be talking about. So, so Crystal, you were listening in. So Robin and I were doing the main interview, but I know you were there listening in. What did it make you feel? Like, what were your thoughts, All
right. So she said about being with your dog in the now as her takeaway, and how that can really free you up. And I felt that hardcore this last weekend.
Yeah.
Two of us hosted an IGP trial, and we did the track laying. I did the helper work. We were the secretary. Mel helped too. I'm not taking away from him. And then Jess showed up, but it was one of those where really the two of us kind of did all the things.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that we did was kind of last minute, I trialed both of my dogs in tracking.
Uh-huh.
And we also get this, not to take away from Amy's, reflection, but Emily Lawrence, who we had on previously, she was all the way here from Washington in little old Missouri, and she was phenomenal. And it was wonderful getting to train with her. And something that she said, I was tracking Checkmate, and that's been a real struggle, teaching him tracking. It's, I know that Amy said that you can't force a dog to search,
Right.
it doesn't happen.
Right.
And then you said, but you can make searching aversive.
You could.
And so that's something that really was in my head a lot. So again, I loved listening to you guys. I mean, I was there, but just not actively there. And when Emily was here, she told me that my dog Checkmate has the potential to be an FH tracking dog, which is, 1,800 paces, 2 days of tracking, and can do all these things if that's something that I want to pursue with him. And what Amy said was, be with your dog in the now. Yeah. I was still seeing him as the dog 6 months ago or a year ago, and not in the dog in front of me. And I'm really guilty of that in several instances along the career and lives of my dogs. So that's been a lesson I'm really listening to right now from both of them.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you say that, because Dash was that dog for me. Because there was lots of times that you guys have heard it, and my friend Janie's heard it, that, oh my gosh, Dash. And it became this whole sort of concept in my head that, Dash was my problem dog. And something somewhere happened where I ended up handing him over to another handler because they were down a dog and they wanted to practice something. And I was like, go get Dash out of the car and just run Dash.
Yeah.
And Dash ran like a dream. Wow. And I'm like, where'd that dog come from? Because that's not the dog I had in my head. And so, it's, and that whole concept with Amy actually really reminds me about the fact that this is one of the benefits of videotaping your trainings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's dash 2.0.
Yeah, because now I have dash 2.0 because we as humans have the tendency to really, really concentrate on the negatives, on what went wrong in the video. And I know when I was training Nico at one point, I was like, oh my gosh, all the repetitions really stunk. I didn't meet my criteria, blah, 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 blah. I went back and watched the video and I'm like, wait a minute. That actually I actually trained at the criteria that I wanted to train at, but I had created a mountain out of like a little teeny weeny, like 2 specks of dust that had happened during this training. And so that's a very wise lesson that we can always be reminded of.
I had a similar type of epiphany actually last night. I was doing this online thing, right? And I was sharing a video from one of Y's elite trials. And I'm like, oh, there were these, we went through the hide placements. There were 2 container hides and he found both of those. And then he found there were 2 interior hides. And I'm like, oh, this is really hard. There's a hide low. I said, I think he may have gotten some odor because this is what was my memory. In my memory, it was like, oh, well, we're not going to get that high hide, right? And I'm watching this video and Y 2.0 is in odor, like immediately, like head up, working elevated odor. I'm like, dang, he almost had that one. Like I'm sitting here going, I'm always thinking about my little timid environmental dog that like really had a hard time just going out in the front yard and existing. And he went to a really challenging elite trial and he almost got that. It was a high low. There was a hide like under an overhang.
And he was like, here, Mom, hold my beer.
Yeah, it was like probably like 5 feet high, kind of that was only maybe, I don't know, 5-6 feet apart from like a ground level hide. He almost had that high hide. I'm like, dude,
where'd you come from?
What is this? You need a better handler because, he's like, I've been telling you that, Mom. So I had kind of the same situation where I'm going back looking at the video. I'm like, that was incredible. It's,
what a good boy.
And you just have like in your head of like what your 1.0 dog and you actually have a 2.0 dog. And you don't, for me, I'm trying to figure out how to handle my 2.0 dog. He's got me a little perplexed here because I'm like,
well, and that is something that those 2.0 dogs, and I know that it's interesting because if you look at the dogs that I have, only recently am I like, oh, just labs, right? So now I have blacks and yellows. Mm-hmm. And sometimes this is why they wear different colored collars because it's a stimuli.
To be fair, Ducati and Bristol, like I still can't tell them apart.
Yeah. So
they really are very similar looking.
And so
no offense to
it's
Ducati
okay.
You're telling me like, well, one has a slightly narrower head and slightly
I can tell them
ear,
apart
like,
just because
what?
It's me.
Yeah, your mom.
But that second round of dog, because it's almost like you're stuck in this whole, well, we're training this thing. This thing. And at some point the dog's like, yeah, I got it. Mm-hmm. And you're like, wait a minute. Because something gelled all of a sudden, or it's that whole concept sometimes of they make a couple of generalization leaps that you aren't ready for.
Right.
And now you're like, okay, how did you get there from here? And sometimes that bites you in the butt because they generalize the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you get lucky and they generalize the right thing because your training progression plans were set up appropriately.
Right.
And that's that learning from each dog. Something else that I heard from that was from the discussion was about embracing who the dog is. And it was about the pro world versus the sport world, and not really versus, but just kind of looking at
different philosophies.
Yeah. And how there's different pressures. So like there's the time pressure of nose work. And maybe there's also different pressures as in, the purpose of why you have that dog. it was the pretty one in the litter versus, maybe someone else that's, the pedigree and the dam's dam and the, embark and the genetic testing.
This was pre-embark. Yeah, it was pre-embark.
Yeah. And so it's like, I just got the one that was pretty at the shelter.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about the difference in the timeline and the purpose of the dog. And I know that's something that my dad gave me trouble with. I've shared before that, he said I would never be a national or world level competitor because I'm always thinking about why the dog is in my life and who they are. And I'm having a hard time thinking about, if the dog's not meeting the criteria that I'm trying to get to. So like Checkmate has bad hips. And so I can't do bitey sports. So I don't have a bitey dog. And so he's right in that way. But then we have to be comfortable saying, okay, are we okay not being able to do the thing that we got that purpose-bred dog for? And it's really, she's got me thinking a lot, about remember why that dog is in your life.
Yeah.
Is that dog meant to be in your life its entire life too? So you have to remember why you're doing the things you're doing too. So it's really, it got really heavy in my brain and I've been thinking about it a lot.
Yeah.
I've gone to the shelter, and I've gotten several purpose-bred dogs, and some of them were purpose-bred dogs and some of them were shelter dogs or whatever. And they came into my life and they, for either health reasons or temperament reasons, couldn't work to do what I wanted them to do, or the thing I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I still face that with, what I've got going on in my current world. And so then the questions that I start asking myself are things like, well, what happens if I either sell the dog or rehome the dog in such a place that it's now 1 or 2 dogs instead of, 7?
Yeah.
And it goes into an atmosphere where and because the requirement is it's got to go into a better home than mine. Kind of hard.
Yeah. I think that's when she said we have to embrace who they are.
Yes.
But I think the other flip side of that is we have to embrace who we are.
Correct.
So I might be a little ate up with this dog sport stuff. And I don't know that it's fair to a dog that's also not ate up with it, because I feel like no matter how we play, there's always this desire that I have. And I wonder if my desire, creates a little bit of this, you're not living up to who I want you to be. And at the same time, really loving and appreciating who that dog is. It's so confusing. So I like that she made me think really hard about that.
Yeah. And I guess for me, when I start thinking about that, I'm like, well, the dogs I've had, I mean, granted, my girls they'd probably be fine out doing something professional, right? Maybe, who knows? But I know I'm looking back at like Judd, who was a tremendous searching dog who I got him for other stuff. And he was, he came from a shelter and stuff like that. And he never could have been a working dog. He just didn't have the temperament. So, but what's beautiful is that we were able to really be pushed in a way. And this is actually what I love about the sport of nose work, that he was able to really shine. And then the other part of it is that it's not about winning either, because I look at what I'm going through with Y right now, right? 11.5-year-old mini Aussie who I didn't even think he'd be able to do this level. But the really beautiful part of Elite is that it's just a journey, and I don't feel pressure. I want to do as best as I can with him, and I want to learn with him, and I want to see what he can do, but I don't feel a competitive pressure. I mean, granted, do I feel it with the girls? Sure, I do, but it's still beautiful. And I guess for me, it's like, it's just really amazing to have him out there. And for me, that is kind of the really incredible part about the sport of nose work, is that you can shine in a way that you just don't have that opportunity to shine. And it otherwise, like, it's just not going to happen otherwise. But it just is like all of a sudden, it's like your dog is just incredible. And without that sport, I really don't know where we'd be. I mean, I don't know where I'd be, honestly, without the sport. I guess I'm so tied to it.
I was having lunch with a friend of mine today.
Yeah.
And we were having the whole conversation about, when I got started in search and rescue work, you had the option of doing herding, search and rescue, agility, which was just getting started.
Yeah, which is very different from agility now, by the way.
Correct.
Like I tried it like 10 years ago and now I'm retrying it. I'm like, whoa, things have changed.
And in rally was just getting started. God, now I feel old. But and I live in nowhere, Iowa. So it's like, okay, competitive level obedience, agility, herding, and maybe a little search and rescue. There was no barn hunt. There was, no fast cat, no dogs, nothing.
Mm-mm.
There wasn't even nose work. Well, there might've been nose work, but it wasn't in Iowa yet.
It started kind of the 2011 time.
Yeah, this was 2001.
Okay.
So,
yeah. No such thing.
No such thing. And I think about, I would be doing all probably sorts of different things if I hadn't been doing search work.
Mm-hmm.
And back to your whole thought process. And, it's a great sport. They have created an excellent venue for sometimes what would be considered challenging dogs.
Yeah.
Because they can't go out, they can't do professional level nose, detection dog work.
No, and it's not because they're not talented. That part is, I think sometimes, and this is this whole, and I hate to say it, like the verses, right? Because that's not what we're about. But a lot of times you think, well, if they can't do professional, like, it's like a step down to do sports. But that's not true. You can have a dog that is just as talented, that has every bit of talent, and even sometimes maybe even more talent than some dogs doing professional work. But there's the other pieces that may be challenging for the dog.
Right. And not every dog has a venue to be able to get into quote unquote a profession of that nature.
Yeah.
Because, it's some of the selection processes are one and done. If you don't pass a very specific selection process on a very specific day, because, oh my gosh, you dropped the metal pipe 3 seconds too soon, you're out.
Right.
And keep in mind that was a little probably overblown.
I know what you mean, but it's kind of like, this dog just wasn't into that ball at that moment, or wasn't into tugging at that moment, or
right. And when you're talking about temperament testing, young dogs, 10, 11, 12 months sometimes, which could very well be still in the middle of the teenage tyrant stage.
Yeah.
Then they have to go down a different path.
Well, what about teeth? I mean, the teeth, are they really, Crystal, you would know this. Are the teeth fully set at that point? 10, 11 months?
Yes and no.
See, that was actually my question. So yes and no. So
they're in, but they're not set. So, and I'm not a doctor, but
I just know because of the bite sports, you know this.
Yeah, we usually start getting back into biting around then, but it always makes me a little bit like, ugh, just because of what 2 different dentists have told me, that we should wait until way after a year, up to 18 months before they're actually set.
Wow.
But who really does that?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a long time for a lot of people, because there's a lot of people that at a 2 will have like an MR1 going on an MR2, like for Mondio ring.
Wow.
So I mean, they progress very quickly. So that's just, everybody has their thoughts.
And the reason why I mentioned that is just like maybe the dog had an off day because the teeth aren't quite,
set. Absolutely. And so this is nose work, all of the sports, all those sorts of things are excellent ways. And you know what? Not every person wants to be a professional canine handler.
Or maybe they
What?
think they do. No, I mean, serious. I think there's
And
a
they
lot of people who
might.
say, I don't want to do this like sport thing. I want to do something, and they want to go out.
Else.
They want to.
And then they find out that the hours suck and blah, 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 blah. But
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah.
I just love I love what it's done for the dogs. I just like, it's very emotional for me because of this sport, my life changed. Like it is so, I mean, I really believe that corporate job was going to kill me. I truly believe, to the core of my being, I really believe that corporate job was going to kill me. And I was so miserable. And now I love my life in it. And without the sport, I wouldn't be, we wouldn't be on this podcast.
No,
together.
we wouldn't be on the
Yeah.
podcast, actually.
You guys might be on the podcast. Maybe it would be the
Maybe.
canine detection duo here.
Hello, I was the one that was. It would just be Robin.
Okay, so it would
No.
be the Canine Senses podcast.
Maybe. I probably wouldn't have even started a podcast. So, yeah, I think it's just something that we need to, what Amy and the crew started and really thought about and put together is fantastic. And it's fun to see like former students who came through distraction camp and watch, you have these little tiny terriers who tootle around and do their thing are doing just as well as some of the really, out there, I'm going to go get them, because dogs work so differently, but everybody ends up in the same spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just fascinating.
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And I don't know. I guess the word that comes to mind for me is gratitude.
Yes.
Just have like just an immense amount of gratitude for the creation of the sport and what it's done for the dogs. I mean, it's so interesting. Like if you look back at the sport and how it kind of started, I mean, it's not like they sat down and was like, oh, well, let's think about what the summit level is going to look like. Things just kind of, I mean, I have no idea how it just evolved, but it evolved into something like just really, and what's really cool is like every time they come out with something new, it just pushes us in like harder and more challenging ways. I mean, when I started, NW3 was, the highest level. And it's kind of like when you got NW3 Elite, you were like done with the sport kind of deal. And, and so the max we would ever have in our search areas were 3 hides, and now it's kind of like, well, let's see what you can do. And just, I mean, it's just amazing how it just kind of pushes you in so many different ways. So it's just, I don't know.
That was one of my favorite things that she said, was how she started this based on curiosity.
Yeah.
This was really just a bunch of people very curious about how she was doing what she was doing. And the idea that curiosity drives this invention, it's this innovation that happens. And it was really student driven. And that was something else that I really appreciated. And that's such a great philosophy of teaching. There's a quote that I wanted to share. It said, what the smartest organizations have realized is that curiosity has the power to reinvigorate learning, drive innovation, and support human connection. And that's Dr. Shannon Menifee. And everything that she was saying was about that connection, about that support, about that innovation. And it was just people excited to learn.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated that so much. I thought that quote fit with what she talked about. And it's just because she was with other people that were inspired, and also the competitive. I love how she said, there's some competitive people, and then there were some people that, had some old retired guide dogs. And so can we bring something to bring everybody together? And I love how those decisions just kind of kept going. And once she got more information, not just she, I understand it was a whole group, but because we talked to her, so forgive me if I just say she.
Exactly. There's definitely the 3 of them were.
Yeah. But in my world, I only know her at this point.
Right,
so.
right. Exactly.
So if I say she versus they, just, assume things. But just the fact that they let things happen and they didn't force anything, and they just tried to kind of see where it needed to go.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that. I don't remember what university it was or college it was, but they didn't know where to put the sidewalks. And so they waited until at the end of that semester, people had worn the paths where they're naturally going to walk. And then that's where they put the sidewalks. So it's saved in so many ways. So you make the decisions as you go along when you have more information. And I feel like that's how this developed, and what a great way to work through and develop a program.
I just have to say something that's totally off topic.
Okay.
I love your brain. Like I don't
Yes.
know where you come up with this stuff, but I love it. I'm sitting going, dang, wow.
Not everybody doesn't think that way.
Oh my gosh, and I think you must have like
You don't like them then.
and then the quotes. Like, where do you get these?
Yes.
You guys were talking, and I remembered a quote that someone had said, and I had to just look it up really fast. So
Well, and
Oh my
the
gosh.
interesting thing about the whole curiosity theme is you tend to end up, I mean, so many people have come into my world because they're like, hey, I have a question.
Yeah,
yes,
And, that question then spawns into we have a discussion. And then all of a sudden, I know I have new friends. And I
Yeah.
just am like, wow. And having the friendship and ability to really sit down, because you guys out in listener land may not realize this, but we actually have some nice debates about training
uh-huh.
off microphone. And it
because
is,
we don't agree on everything, even.
We
like
don't.
the number of D's. I mean, that is
I
still
know.
up to
Really?
debate.
So I'll let us in. This is actually December 1st that we're recording this. So today, if you look at our Facebook post, I couldn't try to get on Instagram. Maybe you can do that for me, Robin. But I shared on my group the 4Ds, and so as soon as we got on this podcast, I hear 4Ds.
There's 6. At least
And
6.
so if you don't know the inside joke here, we did an episode about the Ds of detection. You'll have to go back and listen to that one.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's still my favorite. It's still my favorite.
We thought we were very funny.
We were funny. What are you talking about? We were funny.
Yeah.
It is funny. We can go back and we can laugh at our own jokes.
Which is probably scary.
Maybe you do. I don't go back and listen to it because I'm just like, oh, I don't want to hear me. Oh, introvert.
So I think that curiosity piece is, I was watching a dog training video before this, and it was almost like they were apologizing for trying something new with their dog. They're like, well, I'm just kind of curious as to how this would work. And I'm watching it, and I thought it was very clever. And she's like, well, I didn't like this because the dog is actually, this is placed slightly too high. So the dog has to reach, and she was working on positions, and she didn't want the dog's feet the dog to get used to having its feet moving.
Okay.
And she's like, my reinforcement is not placed in the right location to have the dog not stretch and therefore shuffle a foot. And I'm like, having that level of curiosity to then look at the whole picture and be able to break things down is excellent dog training.
Yeah. That's innovation.
Yeah, and that's where I take my like, wish, wonder, because every single time I train, I have a wonder. And so that wonder is the curiosity. And so every time you can rehearse that you can build your imagination and your questioning and your curiosity bone, it's just going to make you a better trainer. So that's where I love that they were with such curious people. And I love that she even gave them credit. She's like, you first class, you're out there, you know who you are. Oh my gosh, my heart just went, oh, it's that warm, fuzzy feeling. So when we can recognize that our students are such a big part of who we are and why we are at the place we are and how we're able to help others and to give credit to our students. I loved that about her.
Every student who's come through and asked me a hard question where I've had to look at them and go, give me a second to think about that. is fantastic. And even sometimes when they ask you a question, you have the answer and you feel like you have to explain it 5 different ways. And all of a sudden a light bulb clicks because you finally found the way that clicked with their brain. And the classes that I teach now are all based on some of those very, very, very first trainings that I did back in 2010, where somebody asked me a question and I am out walking dogs and I sit there and I think about that question.
Yeah.
And so, so rah to those first students for nose work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was just lamenting about how when I started teaching, like, oh, I really didn't know a whole lot in comparison, especially. And it's just like, whoa. I'm thankful to my initial students because they made me grow.
Mine were very patient.
Yeah, they were patient and that curiosity, that's what sparks innovation. And that's what helps you to create new stuff and develop where you're going. And I mean, and this is the reason why I've written so many courses. Like I go back to my older courses and I'm like, I can't put that out. Or I go and I rewrite everything because I'm like, oh,
yes.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
It's changed.
I think that's why there's less books going out because we can't really change a book. Whereas you can go back and update a blog. You can update a video. Those are things that we can keep editing. But I think books
you can unpublish. You can unpublish. Unpublish a book.
Yeah. So it's poof.
I know.
I was going to say another thing that really inspired me was a quote she shared from Ron. And she said that the dogs are bringing us into their world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Been thinking about that one a lot.
Yes. And it's one of those things I know, but I love the way that she shared how he said it.
Yeah.
And there was actually a Coca-Cola commercial of all things. It's an animation and it's, kind of this character, this, guy that's kind of strolling along and he has his interest, but then there's all of these colors and all of the odors are like rainbow colors. And it's one of those commercials that really makes me feel like, oh, I'm getting to see into this dog's world that everything, it's all about the odors, and it's such it's a really well done little animation. I'll share it on our Facebook because it's a fun little animation to kind of see, but just that idea that getting just a moment. I don't know if I would want to be a moment in my dog's world.
It depends on the dog.
Very true.
And it depends on the moment.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
I think I'd go crazy if I was in Yukon's head for a minute.
There's dinner time moments, and then there's, Yep.
But they're just such amazing creatures.
I am trying to picture the difference between Nico's brain, Sheba's brain, and like Dash's brain. And I'm like, wow.
So here's a funny scary, right? So every morning I sit down and I've got my cup of coffee and Powder is here with me in my little office area. And if I get distracted, I get up to do something, I come back, she's drinking my coffee. So never enough that I have to worry, but Powder caffeinated. You want to talk about in the dog's brain?
No, thanks. Sorry, was that too soon? Should I wait a little to pretend like I had to think about it? Was that
I'm like sitting there going, you don't need caffeine, sweetheart. Something
else I appreciated is Amy talked about her students and gave them credit. She talked about how she loved that the dogs were letting us into their world, but she also really focused on the handler and talking about how we need to be forgiving of ourselves and our dogs. And the whole idea, I think she used the, was it like a competition shooting or something, that you have control more over that. Whereas like your animal, they have wants, needs, and stresses, and we have wants, needs, and stresses. And I think Robin might've talked about her trial nerves a little bit or like certification nerves,
Just a tad. I still get them. Yes.
But I love that you said that the most important thing is that the dog has fun. And that is one thing that I think people tend to say about me when I'm trialing, is I'm almost always out there with a smile, even in IGP where it's this very serious kind of sport.
Sorry.
I do have kind of funny cues, but but even like, I was just doing like the dummy dog or honor dog is what they call it. And one of the people there captured probably my new favorite picture of Yukon and me. And he was just an underdog. So of course it's not all this, stress of a trial, but it's this wonderful picture of us just kind of smiling at each other as we're going over to walk through the group. Yeah. And that's what I hope that I can always maintain is that feeling that it's supportive. Yeah. And I love that that's the community that they have built is this supportive environment. Yes. And my favorite thing is when you guys were talking about, I think Stacy, you called it reactionary instead of reactive, just to kind of get rid of that stigma. But when you were talking about that, it's just expected that people are not going to be in your space. Yeah. That right there made me want to go to nose work.
Yes. You feel safe.
Is that the only place in the whole world that happens? I mean, unless you like go to Europe or something, but I just don't feel that here.
To be clear, though, it's NACSW nose work. So
okay, good to know.
Sport, right? Because the sport, well, although depending upon like the European organizations and which where they've kind of taken their inspiration, and a lot of times actually some folks from NACSW actually went over to help them to get going. It is the culture of the organization that has created a lot of that. So when you go and you have a reactionary dog, I don't like the word reactive because we always think aggressive. But it could just mean that the dog doesn't like to be surprised, or the dog just thinks like, creepy things are creepy.
They have a small threshold for things around them. That's all.
Exactly. It's not, it doesn't mean it's an aggression thing. So, but the other part of it is that the really, really great part is if you have a dog that just needs a little bit more, it's not the word respect. It's just,
she called it uneventful exposure. Is that what you're going with?
Yeah.
I loved that.
It's awesome.
Just some more like support or something. I can't think of the word, but if you have a dog like that, like, you don't stress and you're not made to feel that your dog is less, like, nobody's looking down at you saying, oh, it's a reactive dog. Like, what's wrong with your dog kind of thing. Like, you're not blamed because your dog has big feelings.
And that's where I don't know if I'll ever do rally again. I had such a bad experience.
Oh, really?
Just walking with my Malinois, it was an IPO3 Malinois, it's Quinn, and he puts off this confident air. Yeah. And other dogs seem to kind of react to him. And he was not reactive at all. But the fact that I was walking in, there was a lady with Aussies that was pulling her dogs away, like getting away from us. And I'm like, oh, so I thought there was somebody behind me, but it happened several times. And I thought, this is not a supportive environment that I enjoy. Yes. So hearing that, it's like, wow, there's something in the dog world that you can go to and not have people react. I was even thinking about Emily. She came in and she said, I went to St. Louis today. And silly me, I go, why? I was like, oh, yeah. You're from Washington. You'll do that once. Okay. I love you, St. Louis. So she went to the Arch and she said that all of these people just kept coming up and saying hi and wanting to pet her dog. And she's like, do you guys never have people with dogs out here? Is that not the norm? And well, no, because you get your dog out and everybody swarms you. And it's just, they treat you like the dog is their property. And so even in my neighborhood, like I can't walk my dogs in my own neighborhood because all of the loose dogs and all of the kids just run up and hug your dog. Yeah. It's just such a weird culture right now.
Have I mentioned I like living out in the middle of nowhere?
It's very
one day I will
rare.
too.
It's very, very rare to have any sort of like where people feel an expectation that they should be able to pet your dog. I mean, I did have one situation at a trial where I had somebody who really felt like my puppy should have been her kid's petting zoo, and we had a little discussion about that, and it just, but
a kid came up from Quinn from behind and hugged him over his back.
It's not normal. I mean, the dogs are typically are very well respected, and the other part of it, the idea about the fun, making it fun for the dog, that is a part of the culture, right? It's about the dog's experience, and it's a really fantastic part of it. Like the culture, I think, is part of what makes it. Between that, And honestly, the site selection and the quality of the trials with NHTSW, it's really, really amazing.
And this is going to be our repeated plug for people to consider hosting a trial.
Yep.
Yes.
And check out their educational resources because they're always looking for more instructors and all those sorts of things. So Amy was definitely on us about, they actually hosting a trial is a big deal.
Yeah.
And they will help you.
I sent an email to a potential site just the other day because I drove by and I was like, whoa, what is that? And it looks like it's like an amusement park.
Ooh.
I'm like, that looks fun.
I'll go, ooh.
So I haven't heard back from them yet, but
oh, Robin, you should get Adventureland on board. Ooh.
I will.
Do they have off season?
Mm-hmm. They do.
Okay.
So all the people that live near Adventure. Oh, I have Six Flags here in St. Louis, but I don't have any
yeah, but you got to be able to rent it for like peanuts. So
I know, but if I know somebody, maybe. Hey guys, does anybody know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's who you know, right?
Yes. It's amazing. It's that whole Kevin Bacon thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, too funny.
Okay, I thought Muscatatuck too. That'd be a really cool place to do a nose work trial.
It would.
It'd be so spendy.
It's also Department of Defense. So
that we have some hoops there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But definitely has a cool factor to it.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so many cool places out there.
So we're gonna let the potential host kind of put their heads together. Try to come up with stuff because definitely searching on the cool factor. Like I'm excited. I'm going to get to do. Y is going to have. Well, actually, this weekend he's searching at a baseball stadium.
That's cool.
The following weekend, we're going to be at a truck and tractor museum.
Oh, I bet that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm sitting there going, oh, I can't wait.
Lots of vehicle search practice.
Yeah. He actually is
Get
not.
on that.
Y 1.0 doesn't really care about vehicles, but Y 2.0 really enjoyed those fire trucks.
Oh,
so.
it's so good. Little tiger.
Yay.
Yeah.
I was thinking still back to the reactive kind of conversation because I did remember her saying the uneventful exposure, and I adored that. That was like such a cool thing. Yeah. And the idea that they're kind of neutralizing the dog to the triggers. But the thing that really stuck out was that they're using the wiring already in the brain to make these new connections, that I can do this job that I love that's so fun. And at the same time, those things that maybe I was worried about before, maybe I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. And
that was just another thing, just another huge plug for why nose work is so awesome. Because at first it kind of felt like the Goldilocks, No, I guess that would be the wrong way. Because it's like, this is too big, but no, it's the other way where it's like, this is just right. And this is just right. Like, it doesn't matter,
It is
be like anti-Goldilocks.
You could have a dog that just really struggles, but they get used to the fact that when they go to a trial, they're safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
the human is safe.
Yes. And that actually starts to bleed over into their real life.
And I appreciate the fact that nose work, they have created a avenue for all sorts of dogs to be exhausted. Because sniffing is hard work.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that a tired dog is a good dog.
Right.
And
of course, if you talk to my mother, she's like, I don't understand it. Dogs smell all the time. Like, what's the big deal? she's funny. She's always like, but they sniff all the time. Like, why are you saying that your dog's tired? I'm like, Mom, it's brain work. We haven't been able to have that conversation in a really productive
But that's
way.
a great point,
I love her. I absolutely love her, but we're just not there yet.
I think sometimes people think they have to take their dogs for a swim and a run and a hike and all of these active things. And you've done a great job of really building your dog's endurance and, getting them that they have more and more energy to be able to do all of these active things. But it's that brain work. If you can get 5 minutes of brain work versus that hour of active work.
Or a dog that's recovering from an injury. So I have one of my most favorite people in the world is my TA, my teaching assistant, Anna. I started her in nose work I think it was 2015, and she had a dog that was recovering from TPLO surgery, Zoe. And Zoe was recovering from TPLO surgery, and she needed something to do with her. And that's how she got into it. Fast forward, she TAs like classes for me every term. She's one of my most favorite people in the world. We get together all the time. She's on training her third dog, now, or fourth dog, actually, because I can't forget Choopy too. So it's just really amazing. So even, not only does it tire out the brain, but if you have a dog recuperating from an injury, it gives them something to do so they don't go crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be doing this with Checkmate. He gets his next total hip replacement in January. So
yeah.
And it's going to be a long January.
I look at one of the classes I have coming up is the systematic search. And, we will be using brick walls or, the seams on your kitchen cabinets, things of those natures. And if you can get the dog to not only check them and do the really, really active sniffing that makes their diaphragm tired and their head tired, a huge win. And especially now that we're coming up on the winter months when it kind of stinks for most of the Northern Hemisphere to be outside. Unless you
especially
live in
if
Texas.
you're in Iowa.
Although I have to say, in New Jersey right now,
now,
I'm freezing. I'm like, when can I go to Florida for a little while?
Oh, poor thing.
I know. It was funny. It was so funny. I was talking to the Norwegian Neswork folks, right? We had a discussion, like a Zoom or whatever. And I'm talking to them. I'm like, it's so cold here. And they're looking at me. They're just laughing and laughing.
Well, and
They're like
it's
perspective.
Also, and I'll tell you what, this is one of the things that I look at with, the nose work stuff versus like the search and rescue stuff.
Yeah.
And even some of the professional working dog stuff. They want you to go out and search when it's really cold.
Mm-hmm.
At least you guys are sane enough to schedule your stuff inside.
No, I don't know about that. Not so sure about it. Well, it depends. There's trials out there where you're searching outside and below freezing. That is a complete misunderstanding.
But it's not -20 and you're doing rows after rows of cars.
Well, maybe not
at 6 o'clock at night until
I'm just
midnight.
picturing like if you talk to Holly Bouchard, like back when this is with AKC scent work, when you had to like actually buried was truly buried and it was like in the ground and everything.
Oh wow.
And they changed the rules. It started out that way. And I remember her telling me about a trial that she judged and it had snowed. And she's trying to figure out how to do buried. Anyway, it was frozen and stuff like that.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
As speaking as someone who does actual buried, there actually is a time when I'm like, I cannot do cadaver dog certifications anymore because the ground's froze.
Yeah.
And I can't dig anything. Sorry.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Right.
So, yeah.
Backhoe or something.
I have that, but no.
I'm like, wait a minute.
Something else that she said that stuck with me was that she talked about how we had an episode about cross training recently.
Yeah.
And I felt like she really hit on that when she said that I did narcotics, I did bomb dog stuff. But now that I've been able to be around the nosework dogs, they have taught me so much more. And that really, I thought, stuck that idea of it's similar. It's both doing with the nose, but it's different enough. And it really just develops you as a trainer. And especially with reading the dog. And so I love that she was saying, come over to nosework and learn a lot. So even if it's something maybe you don't want to compete in, just to be in the community and feel that support and then learn from those nosework dogs. What a great thing.
And if you're a professional, nosework needs judges. So if you're professional,
yes,
and you're, a canine handler, NACSW is always looking for judges. So and that's basically you're well taken care of at a trial. They take good care of you. You get to see some really cool searches with dogs that you really you'll be surprised. Let me tell you, there's some really good searching. And
you learn a lot of scent theory because you get to watch multiple dogs work odor, even if it's not your odor.
Yep.
And if I had time, I would absolutely be judging, but at the moment, no.
So anyway, I just want to put that out there.
How many jobs do you have?
And yes, I don't need another hat.
No, you have like 12 jobs.
Yeah. And I appreciate the fact because it's been interesting for me as a professional to cross over into the nose work world. I've worked with a lot of dogs who aren't necessarily they're not purpose, or they were purpose bred, or they're not actually what you would pick for a professional working quality dog. I actually learn more as an instructor on how to coach the handler when their dog is constantly looking at them going, what's in it for me?
I love that part because for me, I feel like I'm always collecting dog breeds because I'm always like, have I worked with this dog breed yet? And at this point, I've probably worked with, if you name something, I probably have worked with it. I'll put it that way.
Wait. Breed matters?
No.
I couldn't say that with a straight face.
Oh, okay. What I'm basically saying is that, but it's really cool because it stretches you in a lot of different ways. Like things like I'm going to pick a breed that not many people get to work with a lot, like a Quaker Hungy or something. Like you work with that, and
I know Gesundheit.
Need a clean tissue.
Things like between that, or maybe you're working with like a Leonberger, or you're working with like dogs you wouldn't necessarily picture. Which, by the way, they're really awesome. I know a couple of really cool Quakers. But it's just really awesome to just see like. And I only picked that one because it's like a really cool name, and everybody's like, "Well, how do you pronounce it?" And I feel good because I actually know how to pronounce it. So that's just me showing off. I can pronounce Quaker Hungy. So put that on my resume. But that is actually kind of a cool part about it. It just kind of when you're or if you're watching, or if you're volunteering at a trial and you get to see all these different dogs or whatever. And it's just cool to see all the different breeds and their different styles and stuff like that. It's just.
I did appreciate, we had that episode with Joe Rosie, and she really talked about how the breed matters. And I had to kind of make a little joke about it, because it does. The reasons we get our dogs can matter. The breeds that we get matter.
Genetics are a real
thing.
Yeah.
And then, you have the people kind of like us who are a little nutty and go out and get, all of these purpose bred dogs to do the thing.
Yeah.
But I've also been on the other end of it where I walked into a shelter and there was this border collie there who I was like, oh my God, I can't leave him here.
Yeah.
And I wanted him to do cadaver dog work. And he looked at me and said, dude, dead guys don't run. And I said, okay. Yeah. And ended up finding he went and did national level competitions with my herding instructor. That was his thing.
Yeah.
And so the nice thing for nose work, either, you can take the dog as far as the dog wants to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't wash the dog.
Right. And
they don't get washed. Unless you decide you don't want to do this or what have you.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
I guess what you said though, you could as a trainer become too aversive for it and make the dog not want to search.
Absolutely.
Which then could make you wash your dog. So that would be one thing to consider. So if your dog once loved to hunt and now they don't, you might want to have someone.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Or I was going to say, you might want to have someone help you out with that, or kind of
maybe give us a call.
Yeah. But it's true.
Go to Sensibilities Nose Work.
That's right. But it is, it's not that the dog would have been washed. It's like if you make it not fun for your dog, so that's what I'm saying. Look in the mirror, I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the nicest way of saying that, but
I was trying to kind of skirt around it. So thank you for just being
yeah,
direct.
no. Well, it's out there in the airwaves now. So too late. Sorry.
And that is a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think people, and especially it also goes the other way when you want to do something so bad and your dog is looking at you and going, nope.
Yeah.
That's not, you can't pay me enough to do the thing, whatever you want me to do. And speaking from personal experience, that actually becomes very punishing as a trainer. And I can hate training.
Okay, I'll take that back to where we started this whole conversation.
Yep.
And that was the see the dog in front of you. And when I was doing just beginning foundation of tracking with Checkmate, I didn't like the way he searched because it was not conducive to the sport that I do.
Right.
I could throw a tiny piece of Kong out in a field. That boy could run out there and find that tiny piece of Kong and just be in heaven. But what my sport requires is you have to put your nose in every single footprint to go find that piece of Kong or to find the little nail in the ground that I've stuck in there. He could find a nail that I'd stick in the ground an hour earlier, but because he didn't do it the way I wanted him to do it, it became aversive to both of us.
Yeah.
And that was a really a huge challenge. And so backing up and adding food as a lure, kind of like what Emily was talking about, and reassessing how I was doing it, because I started realizing if he doesn't like doing this now and he used to, he liked doing it his way, and his way was great. It's the dog way, but I need it to be my way, this very kind of obedient way. So I don't know, it kind of takes us back to the beginning, but it's so great to see that both of us have come together now and that he understands that the game that I wanted to play is actually a fun game. And he did really well at the trial. I was so proud of him.
Great. That's so great. That's so great. And to get that feedback from Emily, it's just.
Yeah. But I kind of liked how that
would
took
be
us full
priceless.
circle back to the beginning. Oh my gosh. I got to train with Emily Lawrence. Oh, just saying. Oh, I know. I think I messaged both of you, didn't I? I was like, I can't believe I'm here with Emily.
You did.
I know. I'm like,
we're all like, Finn to Finland 2023, Finn to Finland.
So I think it's fantastic, taking us back to Amy and the train the dog in front of you again and recognize the dog that you have now is something that we can all appreciate, that nose work has helped a whole lot of people recognize the dog that they have is just pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So thankful for her and her team that they brought this for everyone. So thankful.
And you guys, we really tried to get her to tell us what was coming down the pike, but she didn't.
You tried.
She
You
did
did
not.
good.
I did. I even tried off air. She did not spill the beans. But I'm sitting here on the edge of my seat.
We tried. So all of us are watching with bated breath as well. So we can't wait to see what it is.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for listening in. And make sure you sign up on the website. We're going to get ready to announce our next roundtable discussion. So we'll be sending out emails so you can send in questions. So thanks everybody and have a great holiday season.
Canine Detection Collaborative! We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to k9detectioncollaborative.com. That's K9detectioncollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.